everyone, so we're mixing things up a little bit on the channel today because I will be starting a new project pan, but instead of panning makeup or beauty products, I'm going to be panning books. I was contacted by another project panner here on YouTube. Her name is Lorraine, and I will link her channel down below. She asked if I would like to be involved in this collaboration style project pan challenge for book reading. So there are a number of women who are participating in this collaboration challenge. I'll link all of them down below. A lot of them I hadn't been watching before, so I'm really excited to be introduced to some new channels through this project, and I also want to introduce you to them as well. The gist of this project is Lorraine wanted to try and read more books, which I think is pretty admirable. I think everyone should be reading more. She wants to finish 5 books by November 5th, which in the UK, which is where Lorraine is Bonfire Night. I live in Australia, so we don't have Bonfire Night, which means November 5th is just kind of any other day to me, but I am really excited to be participating in this challenge. From what I've seen, I'm a little bit different from the other participants in this challenge because reading 5 books in 5 months isn't really a challenge for me. I read a lot of books. I average usually about 80 books a year, so I decided to make this challenge a little bit harder for myself just so that I would get as much out of it as everyone else was getting out of it, and I've decided to pick 5 books over 500 pages to read by the 5th of November. So let me just get into the books that I'm going to be reading. These are in no particular order, so I will probably be reading them out of order from what I'm showing you, but at the end of each month I'm going to update you with the books that I've finished or that I've made progress on over the month and give a bit of a review of any of the books that I've finished. The first book that I want to finish is Carpentaria by Alexis Wright. This is an Australian Indigenous novel. It is over 500 pages. I think it sits at about 620, and it's about an Indigenous community living, I think, in outback Australia in Queensland. I read an excerpt of this book for a class that I was doing last semester at university, and I really loved it, so I was really excited to see it at a secondhand fair I went to recently, so I'm going to be reading that one. Next is a novel I also purchased secondhand because I saw Books and Quills talk about it ages and ages and ages ago, literally years ago. I'm not even sure if she read it or if she just hauled it, but it sounded really interesting to me, so when I saw it, I picked it up. This is We the Drowned, the international bestseller by Carsten Jensen. I can't even really remember what this is about because I picked it up years ago, but man, I absolutely love this cover, hey. It is so nice. But this also sits at over 500 pages, and I think, yes, it's Danish with a little bit of German chucked in. So it's a bit Scandinavian, and I'm really excited to give that a try. Next, moving a little bit away from novels, this is quite a corker. This is Salinger by David Shields and Shane Salerno. This is a biography of J.D. Salinger, the author. I got this from a friend a few months ago, sometime last year, and I just haven't picked it up because it's an absolute mammoth. I think it looks like a textbook the way it's designed, but it's absolutely huge. I think this one sits at about 700 pages, including the indices. So I'm really excited actually to learn a little bit more about J.D. Salinger because I don't know if you've seen ever floating around the internet that quote about how all the writers who wrote about war, like Hemingway and Conway and people like that, actually spent less time in combat than J.D. Salinger did. J.D. Salinger wrote The Catcher in the Rye, which if you've ever read it, is about a young teenage boy like having a bit of a tantrum in New York City. So I find it really interesting the idea that out of all war novelists of this time period, he saw the most war and didn't write about it. So I'm really interested to see a little bit more about Salinger's life. Next, we've got another non-fiction book and also focusing on another writer. This is the Journals of Sylvia Plath from 1950 to 1962, edited by Karen V. Kukil. Sylvia Plath is probably one of my favorite poets. I think I would rate her just below Kate Tempest at the moment, but I absolutely adore her work and I adore her life story. She fought incredibly hard for the life that she lived, and I find her really fascinating. I've never read any of her journals before, but I'm incredibly interested to have a little dip into them, especially because I really want to know more about what influenced her poetry. I think everyone knows about Sylvia Plath's really sad, depressed life and how that impacted upon her poetry and her eventual suicide. simplified, but I want a little bit more detail, and I think her journals will give me a lot of insight into that. I'm really excited to read this one. I think I might pick this one up first. I'm so excited for it. And the last book over 500 pages that I would like to read by November 5th is the absolutely acclaimed A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. This is also a mammoth. All of these books are going to look huge next to my head. But this one has gotten a lot of hype recently when it was nominated for the Man Booker. It didn't win, unfortunately, but a lot of people say it probably should have. It tells the story of a group of men who are all best friends and a bit of the past of their friendship, but also as them as individuals. I know this contains some pretty harrowing descriptions of abuse, so a lot of people have steered clear of it because of that, but I think it's supposed to be really, really good anyway. I've read some pretty horrible things in books before, so I'm not terribly scared of reading this one. I went to a few of Hanya Yanagihara's talks at the Sydney Writers' Festival earlier this year, and she was an incredibly articulate, intelligent woman, so I'm really excited to give her book a go. Also, a complete mammoth. I think this one is the longest of all of them at just over 700 pages, and this one's going to be probably the most difficult, next to Salinger maybe. That's what I'm predicting. I don't think I'll be able to get them in frame, but these are all of the books that I'm going to try and read by November 5th. So if we're sitting at 500 pages each, then that's about 2,500 pages, though I think most of these are over 600, so even more than that. This is going to be a real challenge for me. I do read tombs quite a lot, but this many in a row will be pretty exhausting. So anyway, those are all the books I'm planning on reading for this challenge. I'll be updating at the end of every month, so please look forward to those. Also, I will, like I said, link all the women down below who are participating in this challenge. Please go and check them out. They're reading completely different styles of books from me. They all look really interesting, but I'm very excited to see their updates. Thank you again to Lorraine for inviting me to collaborate in this challenge. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye!